I said, are you ready for our show? Okay, we're going to introduce by way of Brooklyn, New York. I said, welcome you to the whole show live. Here's our heavier Phillips.
Entrepreneurship, the 9-to-5, the side hustle, and how you can marry all three to be the best entrepreneur that you want to be. Yeah. Not just the social media stuff, not the social media fluff, but for real. How I did it, I'm going to be transparent. We have Thomas J. Bean in the building. Then we have the phenomenal Raymond Solomon in the building. We got the phenomenal DJ Kato in the building.
You are rocking with the dynamic DJ Kato.
Y'all are totally in for a treat. Okay, so look, I love doing giveaways. All right? So, y'all have a chance to win #Amazing Merch. Right? Yes, y'all have a chance to win Amazing Merch. So, I'm going to play a game with y'all. So, there's 3 opportunities for 3 different people to win Amazing Merch, right? And it's 3 things that I do all the time, like in my shows. And I want to see who's going to really let loose on this stage and be like, yeah, it's the O show, right? So, let me get one person to come up. I need one person. Can I volunteer? Like, pick them up. Okay, babe, come on. She said right here. Oh, what up, beautiful? What's your name? Tiffany. Y'all give it up for Tiffany. It's all good. Y'all look cute. How y'all all cute? Okay, great. Okay, so look. Tiffany, in order to win Amazing Merch, you ready for this? I want you to give the people your sturdiest Millie Rock.
Amazing day. And I'm just feeling amazing. Are you feeling amazing?
Nah, see, now that's y'all know I love some Afro pop. I'll tear the Afro pop up, it'll be Afro not. Yes, Kato, I love you. All right, so listen, y'all, I am so excited about today. Thank you, mommy. Y'all, give it up for my mommy. Mommy, that's my prayer cloth when I sit. I love you, mommy. No, I mean, it's fine. I wanted to give you a shout out, so I use that as a way to get you. Okay. Y'all, I love my mom. That woman, we'll get into that later because I don't feel like crying. I told y'all these minks are $30. So listen, I'm just so excited to be in the building today. I'm excited to have you today, all right? So look, I'm not gonna waste any time. So today we are talking about entrepreneurship, the 9 to 5, a side hustle, and how you can marry all of them to literally live your best life, be the best entrepreneur that you can be. Not the social media stuff, not following what everyone else is doing, but literally what you're doing, okay? So listen, just a little background. Some of you may know, some of you don't. So I was working in TV news for about 3 or 4 years. Loved my job. What up? Loved my job. Loved what I was doing. I loved every bit of TV news, but I felt like there was greater. You know how you get that feeling? Like I feel like there's something else I need to be doing. And so y'all, I loved it. I went into work early. I was the last one to leave. I played the part. I did it very well. But then one day I drove in that parking lot and I drove out. Amen. It was a quick, you should have saw the elbow. Just like that. And it wasn't because anything in particular happened. It wasn't anything bad. It's just when you have a calling on the inside and you feel like there is more, you feel like there's something you need to be doing, y'all, it's so real. You gotta be able to respond to that, and you have to be honest with yourself, all right? So some of you in this room may be feeling that. You may be feeling like, no, I love my 9 to 5 because, you know, it get me the coin, but if I could really do both, I really will. And then some of y'all are like, I'm about to drive out the parking lot with you, sis. Where to drive out the parking lot? Where the club at? Sign up. And some of you love your 9 to 5. And listen, here's what I'm not saying. Let me put this caveat out there, right? I'm not saying everybody, up and quit your 9 to 5, let's go. No, because OSHA can't pay your light bill. But what I am saying, facts, Kato, no, I cannot. It will be tragic. It'll be tragic. So what I'm saying is, so that's also not what I'm saying, right? I'm saying respect your 9 to 5, respect your side hustle, respect your passion, and marry the two, okay? So I do a lot of talking on the O Show, and it's usually me and a camera, but today I wanted to get the best of the best for you all, because this is my first live show, one of many, and I don't play about picking the best. Zeke, what I better do? Hablar mi hablar. Hablar mi hablar. All right, shout out to Costa Rica. Okay. So listen, because it's my first of many, I wanted to bring the best for you all, because I don't play about y'all lives. I don't play about your time. I don't play about your souls. I don't play about the time that you give me. So I said, okay, I need the best of the best. 2 young people, let's get it. That's what I needed, because that's what I would want. And I don't play about y'all, because y'all know it's the amazing tribe and I love y'all. So I had to get the best, all right? And I'm going to have them join me, but I'm going to sit and put the prayer cloth across my lap. Kato, play us some tunes, amen? All right, so listen, we are back. I'm so excited. We have 2 powerhouses, like I told y'all. They are entrepreneurs, and they are killing it, all right? Don't take my word for it. Here we go. The first guest is the beautiful Raven Solomon. Y'all give it up for Raven. Hey. All right. You want to do it? Raven, you want to? Wait, so Raven wanted to do our obligatory Millie Rock. He saved you. No, listen, we could. No, we family. It's all the amazing tribe. She goes, thank you, Kato. You got me. All right, so listen, let me tell you a little bit about Raven so you don't take my word for it, okay? So Raven is a successful entrepreneur, a keynote speaker, and she's also the author of the 2019 release, Leading Your Parents, 25 Rules to Effective Multi-Generational Leadership for Millennials and Gen Z. All right? She's a beast. She a whole beast. All right? And again, if you still don't believe me, Shorty was just featured on Forbes. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. We got people on ready. Okay? And a little bit more about Raven is she's the founder and president of the Charlotte-based Center for Next Generational Leadership and Professional Development. And I'll have her tell y'all a little bit about that a little bit later. And she was just featured in Forbes. Like I said, I believe that deserves like a 2-time shout out, all right? Listen, so Raven, we're gonna get to you, but I gotta introduce my brother from another mother, the one, the only Thomas J. Bean. Y'all give it up for Thomas! Hey, why you easy? What you trying to do? You need support? You need support? Oh God, no, let it go. Oh God, hey. Y'all, hold on. Y'all, why my boy let it like simmer? Like, I think we gonna do this. Add the salt and the pepper, Ocho. You did good. I'm proud of you, love. All right, so let me tell y'all a little bit about Thomas, okay? Because listen, he is, in every sense of the word, a life changer, okay? So Thomas is the president of the Life Group. Life stands for Legacy, Insurance, and Financial Education, which is imperative for millennials of all ages. It doesn't matter. So he goes into the communities, and he teaches people how to manage their finances in excellence, okay? Thomas has coached hundreds, thousands of business professionals and helping them reach their financial goals. He grew his career from being an insurance agent to now an advisor, where he believes in establishing good relationships with his clients, overseeing the growth of development, and definitely ensuring that they have financial well-being through entrepreneurship and legacy, y'all. So I gas my people up. Thomas is also an author. He has a dope, phenomenal ebook, and it's called Life Changers: 4 True Lies About Your Money. Y'all give it up for my guest. So listen, I'm so excited. I love these two. They operate in excellence. When you're surrounded by people like this, you can't be whatever, right? So y'all, let's get into these questions. And you know how we do, real conversation, like I know y'all, but it's definitely for the people, because I believe that, we gotta do good work, okay? So first question is, how did you know the 9-to-5 was or wasn't for you?
All right, I'll take that first. You know what? I, for a long time, thought that the 9-to-5 was for me. Mm-hmm. And that was because of the wins I was having along the way. Yeah. So I started my career with, should I say I ain't gonna say the company, because I don't like to
we're gonna say, okay, so for companies, we're gonna say, they who shall not be named.
They who shall not be named. I was paying the bills, and yes, I hit what's called the fast track when I was, coming straight out of college, joined this particular company. And that fast track means that, once you come in, you perform well, they promote you, you perform well there, they promote you, etc. So I had reached the pinnacle of my career. I was an executive at this company, one of the largest food and beverage companies in the world. Yes. And what I thought was killing the game, right? So I thought that 9-to-5 was completely for me, because you know what I mean? The money was good. The company car, all of that stuff. The 401k, which we're going to talk about, I think. We're going to talk about the 401k. Everything was well, so I thought. But apparently God had different plans. Yes. Out of nowhere, I just started having seizures. Honestly, I'd never had a seizure a day in my life. So I'm doing well in my career. I had moved to Charlotte. Thank God I had moved to Charlotte, because my family's here. I was in Pittsburgh. God bless Pittsburgh, but it wasn't for me. Right.
We got some Pittsburghians.
I just offended her, because I'm like, it wasn't for me.
I see you, sweet baby.
It wasn't for me, and so I had come back home, and one day after work, I'd worked a long 10-day stretch, and I got home, walked through my garage door, I saw my best friend, I gave her a hug, and then the next thing I knew, there were dots spinning around. Crazy. And so I had a seizure. I woke up in an ambulance. Doctor said it was an isolated incident, went back to work. 30 days later, I'm leaving the gym. I pull out of the parking lot. The last thing I remember is pulling out of that parking lot. So I had a wreck as a result of the seizure while I was driving.
All the stress? Would you say that's what that was?
All the stress.
Okay.
The doctors can't say that it's, completely driven by stress, but it's certainly a contributing factor.
Right.
So at that point, I took time off work. I took about 8 months off. I will be honest, in the middle of that, I tried to go back to work because I'm a,
We always do. I was in a whole hit and run, and I was like, Ma, call my executive producer. She's here. I said, Ma, call my executive producers. I got to go to work.
Right. For whatever reason, we have this pressure that either self-imposed or imposed by the company. And so at that particular point is when I decided that I was going to take a sabbatical away. So I traveled. I focused on me. I took, therapy because of a lot of things that I needed
by the
to.
way.
Yes, absolutely.
That's okay, by the way.
It is necessary. Because I'd had a lot of trauma that I'd never dealt with. And to me, I can only speak for me, right? That the seizures was really a manifestation of the undealt with trauma in my life.
Yes.
And so I finally sat and dealt with it, and I made the decision to leave my job. And so it was kind of like God forced me off the cliff. A lot of people jump off the cliff.
Raven said,
it was like,
gossip.
Straight up.
Yes.
And he did. And so with that, that's how I found out the 9 to 5 wasn't for me. It was literally a push off of the cliff and into, what I now see as my destiny.
Got it. Okay, and Thomas, I want you to tell the people, and then we're going to go to a commercial break, so kill it, TJB. What you always do.
That's a hell of a testimony.
Facts.
Period. I never had a 9 to 5. I came out of college, and I always knew I wanted to be an insurance agent. I wanted to change lives. I wanted to sell insurance. I wanted to see generational wealth gap kind of close, and I entered a 9 to 5. I say I didn't have one, but I was 100% commissioned as an insurance agent. I was working under the umbrella of a company that treated me like I was an employee. So even though I was making my own money on my own time, they treated me as if I didn't show up on time or if I wasn't in meetings, that I was somebody to be to manage, somebody to be managed.
Heavy.
And I hated it.
Yeah.
And I hated it so much that I started in 2005. In 2008, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. I lost 50 pounds in 2 months. In 2007, I had just built my first home. I was 22 years old, and I thought I was making it. Like I thought I was killing it. And what happened was I was out of work for 4 months, and nobody called me.
That's
Nobody
real.
from that business that I was operating under hit me up. And the only person that reached out to me was a friend of mine in management, who I hit him up, and he said, yo, if you need help to go to your doctor's appointments, because I didn't have family in Charlotte, he said, I'll take you. The time that he took me, I was so down on my luck that I was asking him for a little bit of money, because in 2008, the market had started crashing. My home was almost foreclosed on. Because I couldn't really work, I was bleeding, hemorrhaging my finances. So all of these things were happening. So now I tell my clients, I'm like, imagine somebody waking up on a Monday and not liking you and destroying your career. That's what employment is. Because you have the ability to have your finances decimated in a moment. And then I tell my young beautiful women who are out here hustling, and I know they're going hard, and they have these great careers. I always say, if you get pregnant and you take maternity leave, in 3 months you're not working, but you get paid, and then you go back and you're getting paid the same amount that you were getting paid when you weren't working, how much are they underpaying you for working?
Catch that.
So you got to understand the 9 to 5 is not even biblical. You're supposed to be entrepreneurial. You're supposed to follow your passion. If you're not following your passion, you're letting somebody else dictate your worth.
Thomas?
Come on.
Listen.
Can-
Oh my God. Thomas, when we return from this commercial break, you're gonna lead and finish that, because that was a whole word. You hear me? Okay, great. Y'all, Kato, play the music before I start shouting. Quick, Kato, quick. I'll catch y'all. We'll be back. Thomas, go back where you left off, how you was going over how a 9 to 5 don't be looking out for you, but you be looking out for it. And then Raven mentioned that she had something she wanted to say to that as well. So go ahead, sir. The floor is yours. Then you have another question and questions from the audience.
Yeah, so it's just a paradigm shift. In grade school, we were taught that 100 was the highest grade you can get, and we were taught to strive for that. In the workforce, you can actually get 150, 200, 1,000. But you're capped at what somebody else tells you to do. So You're going from grade school, you're going to college, you're getting grades based on somebody else's timeline, somebody else's measurement of what your success looks like, and then you enter in the world and you continue to do that and you raise your kids with that philosophy. You pass it down and you're actually passing down a curse, right? So what I tell everybody, I can just get you to understand that the passion, the seed that God has put inside of you, if you water that thing, if you nurture it, you are supposed to grow far higher than somebody else's peer review. And if you get to that place, come on.
Sis said Hashando.
And when you get to that place, honestly, with that paradigm shift, exponential growth, the very thing that you've been looking for probably your entire life when it comes to fulfillment, the friendships, the respect that you have in society, how much you can give back, what it looks like for you to actually be free. There's so many things that fall into place once you have that sense that, 100 is not enough. I love what Eric Thomas says. He says, go 120, right? You can go fast in life, but you can't go fast with a paycheck.
And my mom says something that's dope all the time, job, J-O-B, just over broke. So we're constantly succumbing ourselves when we speak it over ourselves. Oh, I'm going to the jab, or even something that Miss Tori, and y'all gonna meet her later, how we always say the side hustle, right? That's something even I've been guilty of. Hustle, grinding indicates that you're digging something so deep until it's no longer sharp. It becomes dull. And that's what we speak over ourselves, and we're like, wondering why we get so tired so quick. You know what I'm saying? So, Raven, go ahead, Raven.
Absolutely.
Go on,
So
Raven.
I just want to, respectfully provide a different perspective to that, right?
Totally, yeah.
I do believe that there's value in your 9 to 5. I don't believe that everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. And here's why I know, right? Because I need employees. You need employees. You need employees. So somebody got to do the work, right?
The O show.
Somebody's got to do exactly. So I don't believe that everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. I do think there's value in your 9 to 5, and here's how I know that as well. Simply because my 9 to 5 qualified me to be where I am today, right? So it gave me my platform. It taught me how to lead people, so now I can therefore lead people. It is the premise of the book that now makes me money, right? It's the premise.
Big money.
And got me on Forbes, right? So if I didn't have that experience, it would not have qualified me to be where I am today. Now, ultimately, God does qualify me as well. Amen. So there's 2 qualifying factors, but I can't go into a corporation with the Spirit of God and say, you need to give me this contract because I am qualified.
In the name.
No, I've got to say in that as well, but I also have to say, look at my resume, look at my background, look who I've led, look how I've demonstrated my capability, look at my results, etc. So I don't want to negate the fact that, there's not value in your 9 to 5. There absolutely is, because it qualifies you, and it also teaches you what to do, right? It prepares you. I was in sales for 8 years, and now as an entrepreneur, I think one of the most important things you do is sell, right? At the end of the day, every business sells. The hospital's selling something. They're selling healthcare. Yeah. So at the end of the day, there's value in the skill sets that you're acquiring your 9 to 5. And when you transition into that entrepreneurial journey, those skills are going to be just as valuable to you as they were to them. That was, probably underappreciated there. Yeah. So I respectfully just want to provide a different perspective.
There's so much meat there. You have to be an entrepreneur before you're an entrepreneur. And there's so many people, they step out of their 9 to 5 and they instantly say, okay, I'm going to do this. And they never looked at themselves as a business. So they're stepping into a business world before they've cultivated a mindset for business ownership. And then we take it even further and talk about entrepreneurship. Like, there's levels of this, right? So I never want to, and I come across, fire and brimstone, right? Because I believe in it. But I also believe that in the employment mentality, in the I have to have a job to pay bills, there is something there that is not natural. It is dependency. And God did not create you to be dependent. He created you to be an independent, unique being. With that being said, while you're in that period of dependency, and even if that is your journey, you have to think about how you're creating independency. And that's why the financial things that I do, the books that I put out and the stuff, it teaches you how to be an independent individual overall. Whether somebody's giving you a paycheck or whether you're out here grinding. I'm gonna have to change my rhetoric around that. Whether you're out here creating the vision of the life that you want. So I appreciate you saying.
And I respect both of y'all. Thank you. Y'all get that up because we got two. This is why excellence has to be a standard. Y'all saw how y'all got two sides to the, okay, great. All right. So the question that I have, and then we're going to take it to the audience, is what is some advice, y'all, on both ends for somebody who like their 9 to 5 and want to stay but is seeking growth, or for someone who wants to pursue the entrepreneurship route? So what is some advice, some things that you learned? Let's give the people a positive word before we take questions.
Absolutely. So for me, entrepreneurship is less about owning a business and more about walking in fulfilling your purpose, right? So if you are called to entrepreneurship, then be an entrepreneur. But if you live out and walk out your purpose in your 9 to 5 or within the community or in politics or wherever you are, I believe there are 7 mountains, and I'm gonna put myself on the spot by trying to talk about these 7 mountains of influence. One of them is government, one of them is religion, one of them is business, another is arts and entertainment. So there are different avenues in which you can move culture. And business is just one, right? So you can be in politics and influence and impact the world if that's your purpose. So it's all about where you're called. The other thing I would say is just to encourage you, if you are thinking about being some sort of business owner, entrepreneur, having a side hustle, whatever, I would encourage you to think about 3 things. And it's just the 3 things that I thought about when I started my business, when I was, sick on not my deathbed, but my other bed.
Sick on my
sick bed. When I was sitting on my sick bed thinking about what I was gonna do after this sales career, I asked myself 3 things. I searched my head and I thought about and reflected on what was I good at? What did they pay me for? What separated me and differentiated me from my competition, if you will? Why was I promoted? What am I good at, right? So first, search your head. What are you good at? Second, search your heart. What is it that you love to do? What would you do if you weren't compensated for it? Like, what is the heartbeat within you that says, I get up in the morning to do this? That's your purpose. So it's about searching your head. What am I good at? Searching my heart. What do I love? But this is the most important part, and people don't do this, especially us. You've got to search the market to see what's necessary.
Oh, that's good.
Right? So I can like it, I can love it, but if the market is saturated with it already, I don't have a business. I have a hobby. You know what I mean? So it's about providing something that's missing in the market. That's what business is. That's what entrepreneurship is. It's creating exactly real value. So what is the market missing? That's all I'll say.
Son. TJB, go ahead, sweet baby.
So you have a job and you know you have a calling, but your job can't necessarily help you in your calling just yet. You can't leave your job because if you go into your calling, you're probably going to fall behind.
Yes.
You have to start testing the perimeter. And most people, they're so good at the job, they've never truly tested the perimeter and their strengths outside of that job to see exactly how those things translate outside in the business world. What's going on, going back to the school analogy, what's going on is we have people who are being called to recess and they're not going outside, so the bell goes off and the bell goes off again, they come back inside. So they're so good at that, they've been trained and conditioned. So when somebody tells you, yo, you got a good job, make sure that you're contributing the max to your 401k. You're actually taking the resources that you could use to start your business and putting it in a place you can't touch till you're 60 years old. You are suffocating your dream based on staying within the perimeter that you've been taught by being a good 9 to 5 employee. And the first thing that I tell a lot of people who, and I've seen it so many times, first thing that I tell a lot of people who come to me and they're excelling at their 9 to 5, what would it look like for you to excel outside of that instead of doing the things that your employer, your supervisor, that they're telling you to do? What would it look like for you to scale back on being so good at the things that they're doing for you long term and you start doing some short term things for your own success? Okay. Because in that creates the urgency to say, okay, I've got to do something different. What most people don't realize is that the reason that they're either living check to check with that job, or that they are hurting and have this passion, but they feel the fear of stepping out, is that they're giving all of their eligibility for the resources to the job. You have a lot. Like everybody in here is already a multimillionaire.
Y'all better receive it. Lift your hands. Lift your hands. Say, all right.
Every one of y'all. But nobody's ever told you. And they're keeping that covered up. Because if you were to ever find out that you have what is within you to do the exact same thing that your employer is doing every day with you, then you would leverage that same power to build your own. So our hashtag for our company, one of them is build your bank. The other one's build your own. You have that opportunity, but you have to give yourself the grace of testing the perimeter.
Thomas, Raven. All right, now y'all look. So this is my favorite part. So y'all got gems from two people that I highly respect. So we're gonna take a commercial break, and when we come back, I want y'all to think of some dope questions. We'll take all of your questions, and it's gonna be amazing, okay? I love y'all. Y'all, thank y'all. All right, y'all, let's get to commercial break. All right, so listen, y'all, I'm going to pay homage real quick. We're going to pay homage to Auntie Oprah, the woman who inspires me. Her episode circa late 1980s where she would walk into the crowd and give her guests the stage. All right, so I'll always pay homage because, listen, that's where I'm trying to go. So you got to sow where you want to go, as my pastor, Shamari, always says. So let's get it. All right. Have life? You know. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to take questions from the audience. So to let this flow nice and neat, y'all raise your hand and I'll walk to you, just like Auntie Oprah did. All right, I got one in the front. Oh, and real quick, beautiful. So listen, here's what I want y'all to understand. God is dope, right? These two people get paid really, 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 really well to give the advice that they're about to give y'all for free. These are my siblings. I love them. They're amazing. They sow into my life. So listen, take this opportunity. Take this opportunity for real. To ask them whatever you want because, listen, they're transparent, they're open, and they're bomb. You know what I'm saying? So just want to put that out there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid at all. Okay, give the people your name. And yeah.
Okay. Hey, y'all. My name is Ray. Congratulations. Proud of you. Oh,
Thank you. Love you, babe.
you're welcome. I just wanted to know exactly what was the most challenging part about becoming an entrepreneur and putting your passion out there for the world.
Thank you, babe. Thank you so much for your question.
So I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. Can I keep it all the way 100?
Ooh, keep it
all the way
100.
So I became quote unquote successful off social media.
Yeah.
And I was not
Yeah.
on social media when social media even started becoming big. I didn't join social media until about 2.5 years ago. So the idea that my business ideas, my vision was not relevant except for being offline in the silo of the clients that I had helped, and now I had to make it relevant online was a huge challenge. And I still face a lot of challenges with that. The beautiful part about that is that a lot of my clients and friends have built and scaled significant online businesses. And because they post us and they tag me and do all these things, I'm able to grow on their coattails and learn from them what it's like to be in a new area. So I would say in entrepreneurship, you are constantly growing, constantly evolving. And if you are ever an entrepreneur and you live the same exact year over and over again, you're hurting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. So don't be afraid of tackling new challenges. That challenge for me is something that I now understand will always be evolving. Social media is not going away, but Sears did, right?
Oh my God.
So if you don't adapt to the times, for the longest time I had a website, and now I have a landing page. Now I have a funnel, and those are the things that you can't let be challenging, because if it's a problem, make it a process, it won't be a challenge anymore.
Right? What? What's that? If it's a problem, make it a process?
If it's a problem, make it a process, it won't be a challenge anymore. Yeah.
I know, right?
One thing I would say, it's kind of on that foot, but one of the hardest parts for me about being an entrepreneur is I'm a perfectionist. So it's hard to sometimes let go, to delegate effectively. It's hard to fail. And as an entrepreneur, you really have to be well acquainted with failure, and you've got to move quickly when it happens.
Right? Yeah.
You know, they say fail fast, fail forward. A lot of us can't afford to fail fast. I hate that term, right?
Yeah.
Fail forward. We can't afford that a lot of the times. But the biggest challenge, I think, for me is learning how to let go. And I mean that in two ways. One is to delegate effectively, and then the other part is to, when something is dying or when something is failing or when you have a better option or a better route, sometimes you gotta let things die as an entrepreneur, and that's hard because these are your babies, right? And so just in full honesty and full transparency, I made the decision last week to forego one of my brands, at least for the time being. And that was really, really hard because I started this thing. This is my baby. There's value in it. People have paid for it. What do you mean? It's not failing, but there's a clear opportunity for me to pivot and go elsewhere. And as an entrepreneur, that word pivot is something you become real acquainted with.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you keep going on the same route and giving 80% of your energy to something that's producing 20% of your effort just because you're married to it?
Y'all, this word.
Or do you get smart about it, let your feelings hurt, pick up, and move on to go and get 80% of your revenue with 20% of your effort? So letting go is hard, but it's necessary.
Y'all, are y'all catching this word? All right, sweet babies. Who else have a question? I see you in the back, babe. All right.
Oh, thanks, girl. Okay, hey, you said my name? Oh, Demetria. So one of the questions that I had, and you started to touch on it when answering her question, was about dealing with an oversaturated market. But, well, she mentioned dealing with an oversaturated market, and I think that's difficult when you're becoming an entrepreneur because everybody's not going to buy or purchase or get their services from certain people. So my question was, how do you build, especially when you mentioned social media not being a part of what you were doing at the time, how do you build your audience to get the right consumer and your right product in front of the right consumer? I think I said that right.
Nice word. Yes.
The right consumer. So don't get me on tape of saying this, but I honestly believe that the president that we have in office right now did more for the confidence of this nation in terms of entrepreneurs than anybody could have. If you have a problem being you and knowing that somebody's gonna like it under this president, then nobody can help, right? Because the confidence that I see in a man to wake up in the morning, tweet whatever he wants, do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, in almost a fashion that is so off-putting to so many people, and yet still gain traction to a market that is meant for him. One of the things that we're talking about are walking in your calling. We're going after markets that are not meant for us. And oftentimes when we talk about the saturation, we're thinking of it in terms of our niche and the approach, and we're not thinking of it in terms of our personality and our brand. What's meant for you will always be for you. If anybody has bought from you even one time, that means other people will buy, and the only thing that you're lacking is marketing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So first have the layer of confidence to know that people love you as long as you are who you are.
I love you.
Right? Secondly, know that the market that you're going after, you have to feel connected, not just to that market, but you have to let them know the transparency that we have on social media, who you are, and know, like she said, stop going after some of the people who they're not going to like you anyway. You know, even Jesus had people who were committed to misunderstanding him, right? So you got to get into a place where you can let go and walk away from what's not meant for you.
To that, I would add just, there's a layer of practicality that we have to add to our businesses. And so when we talk about reaching and finding the right customer, we have to do our research. Like, we have to read and research and look into the marketplace, right? And find what it is that they don't have. And the only way, which I've learned as an entrepreneur, right? I've learned this on the way, on the journey. I didn't know this prior to, is you literally have to sit and ask. Right? So you literally have to do customer discovery interviews and ask, what are you missing in the market? What do you wish was there that's not today? And we have to be confident enough to know that maybe what we thought would solve the problem won't solve the problem, which is where that pivot comes in, right? We have to be willing to say, you know what? maybe there's a niche somewhere else and I could still walk out what I feel like I'm called to do and do something different. I'll give you an example. A lot of restaurants, right? We're very service heavy as a people when it comes to entrepreneurship. So we do a lot of restaurants. And just because grandma taught us how to make macaroni and cheese, okay, doesn't mean we need a soul food restaurant.
Wait, but Raven, my nana put 4 cheeses in the macaroni.
Exactly. And then cousin put 6, and that is what differentiates you from, no. That's not a differentiating factor. We need to think about what type of restaurant doesn't exist in the city, right? What type of restaurant doesn't exist on my block? And then I'm still cooking, right? I'm still living out, my heart's purpose or whatever, but I'm cooking a different meal. It's the same thing when it comes to business, right? We've got to figure out what's missing and figure out how we walk still in our purpose, but yet provide what the customer wants, because that, my friends, is business. Right? That's business, providing what a customer wants.
This is a word. This is good, y'all. Okay, we got time. We got time for 2 more questions. Yes, 2 more. Okay, let me get a guy, y'all. Okay, I see you, Dom. I'm gonna come back, boo. All right, yes, ma'am. We're gonna work this out. Oh, I'm all in the camera. Okay.
Good evening, and thank you both. So my question is, both of you mentioned that you're authors. And I was curious to know, were you writing in the midst of your journey and when things began to change in your life when you found your purpose? And did you find yourself having writer's block, and how did you overcome that into telling your story?
Yes. So here, let me just grab that. Can you help me?
And an audience member will be getting.
So here's my book. Praise God.
Come on.
It came out this month in March. Well, last month in March. Time is flying. So this thing took me 2 years to write. And you might look at it and be like, how did it take you 2 years to write 300 pages? Because it's hard to overcome that writer's block when you get it. Or for me, I'm a very tactical person, right? I like to have a checklist, and I like to literally check things off my list. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel accomplished. When you're writing a whole book, this is one project, and it takes a very long time to do it. So many times I hit a roadblock. Many times I was just like, girl, I'm done with this book. Like, I'm not going to do it anymore. Many times I felt like, is there really a market for this? But when literally I do my research, right, and I see that there's a problem that needs to be solved, right? This is a problem solver. And for that reason, I've got now this innate kind of pressure to solve it. And so, yes, writer's block is real. Yes, it takes a long time. Did I start writing this on my journey? I started writing after I left corporate America. And when I sat and thought about those 3 things, right? What do I like? Yeah. What am I good at? What do I love? And what is the market missing? And this is just a product of that. And so I hope that answered your question. Yeah, writer's block is real. It takes a long time, but keep pushing, go through it like it's a real thing. That's a good question.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
All right, okay.
I get excited about my people. I'm like, we're going.
Once again, we have different perspectives in the same thing. I've released 3 books and a debt guide, and have another book coming out June 7th. Have another book with a collaboration coming out with 2 college students next month, and I've done all that since October of 2018. And it was not from a position of me trying to crank out a whole bunch of stuff immediately. It was from me understanding, once again, the market and looking at it and saying, people are telling me blatantly that the book itself is not what's going to pay you. They're saying that everything that comes along with the book, the coaching and the opportunities and the business that you build and how you market yourself, is really how you're going to get paid. But also, I realized that I had to write the books because people were putting me in a position where my time was in such demand that the price point that they were willing to pay me didn't justify me not being able to put the information out. So I had to have something that they had access to for a much lower price point. And because the passion that I have for the business that I'm running was so sincere, I was like, I can't hold this information in, because if I pass away, if something happens in the meantime, then I'm leaving the world without my thoughts being in it. And I refuse for it, even if the work, we talk about progress over perfection in my business all the time, even if the work is not up to par of where I want it at, if I'm alive, I can refine it. But if it's not out there in the marketplace, it puts me in a position where there is no refinement, it's just nothingness. So a lot of people are being held back from walking in their purpose only because they're thinking it has to look, perfect. And I always think, like, if the iPhone 1 never came out, we wouldn't be on the 10. So we got to get away from that idea of it has to be perfect. You'll have time. I didn't know this. I'm going to tell y'all some tips and tricks real quick. So if you publish a book on Amazon, ebook on Amazon, you can keep uploading a book and it'll still have the same published date. So you can keep editing on through and it'll never show how many times you've uploaded that book. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Which means you can actually publish a book on a certain day with your best effort, go back the next day and say, oh, missed that, let me upload this copy. Oh, 2 weeks later, missed that, let me upload this copy. I'm tired of entrepreneurs not watering their seed because they have this honest belief that it's not up to the par of what the market is offering. You can't be Walmart overnight, but you can be you. And if you put you out there, somebody gonna like it.
Listen.
All
right.
Wait.
Listen. Yeah, I got you, brother. And then one more question, then we're gonna go to commercial break. Go ahead.
Okay. One quick thing. I know he giving me the X. I just want to encourage you to also pursue excellence, though, right? So while you do, right, and it's okay to do at a subpar level, but you've got to pursue excellence. So it's got to be in the pursuit and the chase of making something great, right? So okay.
No, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna take to commercial break. Could y'all do me a favor? Could you meet with this young man, Dom? Raise your hand. He had a question, so let's meet with him privately so he can get his fair share. All right. So look, we're gonna go to commercial break. Yeah, y'all are amazing. We'll be back. Cheese. Okay. So, y'all, could y'all do me a huge favor and give it up for these two people? They're amazing. Okay, so before we close out, I want to say thanks, but also I have a couple prizes for people in the audience. Like, I'm about to do an Oprah for real. This is it's crazy. Wow, okay. So, wow. So we're going to start off with the beautiful Raven. Raven has 2 copies of her book, what she was featured on Forbes for. And so, however you want to give those away, my love.
Ooh, dang, the pressure.
I mean, how could we do? I pick a number between 1 and 100.
All right. So I will say the first person to tell us their key takeaway from our conversation tonight.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I see you, Zeke. Hold on a bit. Y'all, this is my bro. Everybody say, hey, Zeke.
What up? You can like it, you can love it, but if the market is saturated, you don't have a business.
Come on here now. There we go.
Yes, Zeke. All right, and we need one more. Oh, I got my sister in the back. Yes, boy, girl, I love that. Sorry, babe. Hi, Angelica, my love.
All right, so the progress, not perfection, but at the same time pursuing the excellence.
Amen.
Okay?
She said, all right. Here you go, my love. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate you. Okay, so y'all, yes, and so TJB, Thomas J. Bean was phenomenal. And so you get a book. No, for real, you really do. So everybody in the audience gets an ebook, his 4 tips. Go ahead, I'm gonna have you tell them, my love. Raymond, could you pass them?
So the book that I wrote is Life Changers, 4 True Lies About Your Money. But the first chapter of that is Debt, Secure What's Real. And I realized that chapter, in essence, is what is holding most people back from actually starting a business. So I took that first chapter and I repurposed it and I created a debt blueprint. So everybody tonight is going to get that debt blueprint.
Everybody in the audience! You get a chapter, everybody! Listen, I always wanted to do that, y'all. Okay, go ahead, Thomas. Yes, so tell them how they can get access to that part of the book.
So if you got your phones out,
Y'all
Text.
take your phones out.
Text more life, all one word, no space, more life, to 474747. Yeah. The word more life to 474747. It doesn't matter whether it's all
It could be
caps
lowercase or all caps. 474747. Y'all got it?
Okay.
You get a chance. Nice. Thank you so much. So y'all, could you please give it up for these guests who I love so much? Thank y'all. Thank y'all. All right, y'all. So,
Well, before I go,
Yes, my love.
I do have a little small token for you, and congratulations for your new show. It's my newest show.
so let me tell you why I love these shirts. I overcome.
Yes.
That's
yes.
like, yeah. That's
And you overcoming, girl. So I'm proud
Yes.
of you.
Oh
This is for you.
I got a shirt. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna have y'all exit the stage, and yeah, y'all stick around because I'm gonna hug y'all. And thank y'all so much. Y'all give it up for them. All right.
Just wanted to send some words of encouragement. Y'all stay focused. Y'all keep working hard. Believe in yourself. Prove everybody that doubts y'all wrong. Show up every day. Stay pure. Keep your heart pure. Stay motivated. Stay inspired. Show love to your people.
The highest human act is to inspire. And that is what the O Show stands for. If I'm not inspiring, I won't put nothing out because y'all deserve the best. So long live Nip. And thank you so much for inspiring me. I never knew you personally, but I didn't have to know you personally for you to impact me. And so I want to let you know you inspired me. And we just getting started. The marathon continues. All right. So honestly, that concludes the O Show. The first one. Okay, great. That concludes the O Show. Thanks to my mom. Y'all, so I've told this story time and time again. This woman, single mom, 5 kids. I'm the oldest of 5. And when I tell you this woman, she's an RN. She never stops. She's the epitome of don't stop, won't stop. That's why I get that grind from not grind, but that's where I get that go from. And I just want to say, Mommy, thank you for all the sacrifices because we here, Ma. What's up, Ma? Shout out to my brothers, Jared, Jordan, Justin. Shout out to my sister, Kia Phillips. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Kenneth. Shout out to my Have Life family and all of you all that I know. Oh my gosh, the Sport! Hey, y'all! Listen, my Spectrum News fam, my People's Market at Dilworth fam. Shout out to Emma Essentials. I love you, baby. I love you so much. Listen, we got some powerhouses in here, so y'all stick around network. There's some dope people in here. Like, I'm talking media. Oh my gosh, we'll be here all night. But I just wanted to say thank you. Also, big thanks to my best friend, Eddie Harris. He was the one. Shout out to the whole tribe. Eddie, JD, I don't want to leave anybody out. You know who you are. Josh Galloway, all these people that you see in media. Let me tell you the importance about connection. We all went to UNC Charlotte. Oh, go ahead. Hey, shout out to UNC. 10 under 10. But yes, so we all went to UNC Charlotte, and you have to, this is why I tell people all the time, I pound this into the ground. Mind your connections. Mind the people that you connect with. Because let me tell y'all, when I was like ready to be like, y'all, let's push this date back, these people were like, no, that's not what we do. No, we're not doing that. So mind the people you connect with. Also, shout out to our sponsors, Kyle, King of the Shine Institute, y'all. Wave, Kyle. So he's dope. Or whatever. I was just like, he's amazing. Thanks, Kyle. So listen, the chairs you're sitting in, he helped out with that. And I just want to say thank you so much, sir, for believing in the vision so much so you said, oh, I got you. Don't worry about it. I called him freaking out, but he was calm. I wasn't. Shout out to Greg Carey Media, one of our sponsors. I love you. Greg is my church brother. He's phenomenal. And of course, our guests, Thomas J. Beam, Raven Solomon, 2 of my baby sisters. And honestly, shout out to all of y'all. Every time I see y'all, when I follow y'all, y'all always show love, whether it's in the DMs, whether it's texting, like y'all really show mad love and you keep me going. So I want to say thank you and I love y'all. But I want to introduce 2 very special people up here. We're going to tell the story and y'all going to freak out. I want to have Tori and Amin come up here. This is their space.
You, amazing, amazing, right? Right, just such life and energy. And so she walks through these doors after knocking on the window and let me in. And so one of the things that we realized was that this space is not our space. We dedicated this entire place back to God. We represent that. And so we know that it's his. We don't make all of the decisions. And so when certain people come in here and they tell us certain things, we're like, oh my God, we got to make this happen. So we put everything on rush mode. It was just like, listen, we got to work, because certain things have to happen. How many of you guys know that? This is a season where things have to happen. They must happen. It is real. Come on, right? Y'all don't make me go, anyways. Woo! I'm telling you, because we're ready for a breakout, and I can feel that in this room. However, she knocked on the door, and one of the things that was so prophetic to me was that the fact that she did not stop knocking, even when she was not seen. And to me, that is such a prophetic vision, because no matter how much nobody recognizes you or sees you, no matter how long you've been knocking, you don't stop when you know that it's a door that you're supposed to enter into. Come on here, y'all. When you're supposed to enter into a place. And she knocked and knocked and knocked until finally I said, oh my God, who is that? And I said, go open the door for her. So this is a season and a time of open doors. And so I'm just honored to be a part of the story, because we know that this is, the best is yet to come. And we know that there's more from here.
So y'all, let's do this again. Look out for announcements, because you already know this is one of many. And I love y'all. Thank you for being a part of the first. Yes, all right. So I always want to say this from my 106 in Park days. Hey, yo, DJ Kato, take us out.